Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I recently got rid of more than half of my makeup collection. It was just getting old, or I didn't use it. I didn't show it on camera just because it was super embarrassing. But we're going to be going through my palette collection. It's not really a declutter. I decluttered a bunch of like Ulta quads. I think the quality was really bad, and also decluttered all of my Lancome quads. So this is just an example of what some of my Lancome quads look like. Very, very pretty, I know, but it's just too old, and at this point I can't justify keeping something that I just never use. So I had maybe like a dozen of these, so I am definitely probably gonna get rid of them because they are just way too old. This is an example of one that's gorgeous and fairly new, so I'll probably end up giving this to my mom, but I'm just never gonna reach for it. And then the other main palette that I got rid of was the Victoria's Secret one that I got for Christmas like way too long ago, and I was so excited about this because I think it was like my first palette ever. It had a bunch of cheek products as well, but this is what the palette looks like, but it's just not that good quality, and I'm never ever am gonna reach for it. So those were the only things that I'll probably get rid of in this video, but I'm gonna be going through my entire collection. So I actually just got this like 2 days ago. It was on sale on the Ulta website for $25, and I really like this. It's a little basic, but I think that's what I like about this, and I'm definitely going to be taking this to college with me. I also got the Toasted palette from Tart because it was on sale, and I'm actually wearing it on my eyes today, and I am in love with it. I'm also going to be taking this one to college. Next palette I have is the mini James Charles and Morphe palette, which I just got from Ulta. I don't really have that many colorful things, so that's why I got this. I will say the quality isn't like amazing, but for what it is, it's a really good price, and I will probably also be taking this one to college with me because of all the colors, and there's just so much you can do with it. And then the only other Morphe palette I have is the Jaclyn Hill. This is the original one, thank goodness, because the newer formula I heard is not good at all. I hated on this one at first, but as it's gotten older, it's actually gotten better. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it is a better formula than the James Charles one, and I quite enjoy this palette. I have the Carly Bible and BH Cosmetics palette. I actually was so in love with this when I first got it. Now I hardly ever reach for it, but at the time it was really, really good, and I need to use this more often because it is gorgeous. I have this Napoleon Quad. I think it's called Water. It's really not that good at all. I don't know if you guys remember when Ulta was getting all of these products out of their stores, but that's when I bought this, and I'm gonna keep it, but it's really not that good, and I don't recommend buying anything from Napoleon because it's all really, really overpriced. This is a Sleek Cosmetics palette in an Oh So Special. I got this when I was in Ireland, I think. Oh gosh, that was so long ago, and it was such a good deal, and I haven't really tried out that much from Sleek Cosmetics. The eyeshadows aren't my favorite, but the tones are really, really interesting. And then I have the original Sleek Cosmetics palette. I think my cousin got this for me. The shades on it are really, really pretty. I just never use this as much as I should. I don't know why. It is so pretty. It's really good. Sleek Cosmetics is really, really good for the price. I have the Maybelline City Mini palette in Downtown Sunrise. This is trash. Yeah, I cannot get this to work for me. I think this is really, really bad quality, and don't waste your money. Even though it looks gorgeous, it does not perform well at all. Another one that I did not like was the Covergirl Golden True Naked palette. It looks really pretty on camera, but it's just kind of not good at all. It's so chalky. Like, you can see how much I've tried to make this work. It doesn't. Next up, I have the Maybelline Blush to Nude palette. It's terrible. Probably the worst one of the bunch. There's literally no pigment. Do not waste your money on this. I'm not even going to open it. It's that bad. And then the last drugstore palette that I'm going to be crapping on is the LA Colors Matte palette. It's obviously the purple one. It's a really pretty layout, and they look like they would be pigmented, but they're so chalky, and even though it's not that expensive, I wouldn't even bother wasting money on it. Okay, now on to something good. I have the Essence All About Nude Palette, and I'm so sad that I think they actually discontinued this, so I want to try more Essence eyeshadows, but these are so creamy, so rich. As you can see, I dropped it and that shade fell out, but there are just so many good shades in here that have clearly gotten so much use for me. I used to wear this every single day in high school, and it's literally the best. So if you can find this, get it. I have to try more Essence shadows because these are so good. It's literally high-end quality. And then last but not least, I have some Wet n Wild palettes. This one is called I'm Getting Sunburnt, and it's really gorgeous. All of the Wet n Wild ones are really, really good. This is Sweet as Candy, which is a really good one that's really similar to Walking on Eggshells, which I actually dropped and shattered and broke the whole thing. So I'm not going to repurchase that one because this one is practically the same. I have the limited edition vinyl collection one, which is probably my favorite, and it performs so good. Literally like a high-end eyeshadow for like, what, $2-3? So good. So good. Look at that brown. Ooh. And then I have Comfort Zone, which used to be so popular in the early YouTube makeup days, and for a good reason. And then I have Petal Pusher, which also used to be super popular, and for what it was, I really like it. I think mine's definitely getting old. I wouldn't repurchase it because I have other purple shadows that I like, and I don't even use them that much. But it's really good if you're just starting out with makeup and you want to play with some purple. Okay, I have my Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette, which is one of my all-time favorites. It's getting a little bit old because the pinks are starting to get really dry, but nonetheless, I still have a couple of good uses left in it. You can see the dips in these pans. It's honestly a really, really gorgeous palette. It doesn't excite me as much as it used to, but I have created some really, really good looks with this one. And then I have Soft Glam, and this is what this one looks like. I have completely destroyed Sultry and Rose Pink because you can't drop them anyway. I literally dropped it on the carpet of my dorm room and the whole thing shattered. It's really pretty. I haven't played with this one as much because I think I had really high expectations when everyone was saying it was like the best thing ever, and I don't know, it's just not that exciting to me. I like Modern Renaissance better, but I need to play with it more. Speaking of boring palettes, I have my Urban Decay Naked palette that I actually bought when it was being discontinued, and I actually used this one a fair bit in college because I didn't have my Tart palette, and it was just very neutral and very basic when I wanted to wear something but didn't want to stand out too much. Like, some of the shades are really pretty, it's just boring, and Urban Decay has my least favorite eyeshadow formula. Next is my Urban Decay Vice Limited palette, and this one was not talked about enough, but I actually really fell in love with this when it first came out, and I just had to have it. I remember it wasn't available to everyone at first. It was just like specific Ulta or Sephora members. I don't even know, it was so long ago. It's pretty, it's just kind of a bad formula if I'm being honest. It's really crumbly. It was bad then, it's bad now. I just I really like the color story in here. I think it is very unique, especially for the time. I'm gonna keep this but probably end up decluttering it eventually. Next up is the Urban Decay Electric palette, which is actually so pretty, and I got this one like on sale a couple years back. It's really pretty. I think the formula is outdated, and the silver shade called Revolt is the worst silver I've ever tried in my life, but the other shades are really good, and I do like this palette. And then the last Urban Decay palette, and the one that I actually love, is the Born to Run palette. I actually do take this with me traveling, which is so cliche, and I kind of hate that. But I mean, look at this. It's literally so pretty. The shade and the formula, it's just so much better than anything else I've ever tried from Urban Decay, and the color story does not bore the heck out of me. So I absolutely love this palette, and it is my go-to travel palette, as cliche as that sounds, but that's what they want, and it is absolutely amazing. So I love this. I have my Huda Beauty New Nude palette, which is just so good. I actually did not use this at all until I took it to college and my roommate started using it, and it looked amazing on her, so I started using it too, and this has been well loved. Like, you can see, I hate the pressed glitters. They're terrible. And the concealer shade is just kind of like, I don't know why that was there, because like glitter and stuff gets into it. But it's a really, really good palette. This is my only Huda palette. But I think I'm gonna get Mercury Retrograde because I really like the color story. So I really like this. This is like a huge pink monochromatic palette that is way too expensive, but also I really enjoy this. I totally forgot to mention my Naked 3 palette, which was actually the first Urban Decay palette that I got for a birthday. I remember I was so excited for this palette, and I don't know why, because it's kind of terrible. The formula is just not that good. It's really monochromatic and just kind of boring in my opinion. I got it because everyone was like, oh my god, it's so romantic. It's such a romantic palette, and I don't know. I'm gonna try to get some more use out of it, but I'm probably gonna end up decluttering this. Oh my goodness, my dirty ass Lorac Pro Palette, which, oh my gosh, like, I need to get rid of this because it is so dang old, but it's so good. Like, the formula is amazing. I don't care what anyone says, this is like the best neutral palette ever. It's so good. I still recommend this palette, and I'm probably gonna actually end up and go ahead and buying a new one just because I love it that much. It is so good. I have the Mega Pro 2 palette, which I really like because the mattes are all really interesting colors that I don't have anywhere else. So that's why I really like this palette. The shimmers are kind of like lackluster. They're not that good, but the mattes are amazing, and that's why I continue to love this palette. And then I have the Mega Pro 3, and I know these are all like really dirty, but the packaging is just impossible to keep clean. This is probably the prettiest of their palettes, I'm not gonna lie. It's really pretty. All the shades just kind of blend into each other. Like, that's the thing, these shades are so buttery and so smooth, and they blend really well together, but they all kind of look the same. So it's really hard to create different looks with this palette, but it's really pretty. And then I have this random Lorac Afterglow palette, and I actually really like this. Here are what the shades look like. It was way cheaper than the other palettes, so that's how I justified it. The white shade is amazing, and that peach shade, oh my god. I would pay the amount of money that this palette was just for that peach shade because it was really good. The gold and the bronze are like not good, and the purple is also not good, but everything else is okay. It's not the regular Lorac formula, but I actually really enjoy this one a lot. I have this Inglot Quad that I made when I was in Toronto, and I literally love it. It's just such a random mixture of colors. It's basically two duos that I put together. This pewter shade, so good. I don't know what happened to Inglot. The hype kind of died down. This is still one of the best formulas out there, so I really enjoy this. I have this gorgeous Tart foil finger paint palette. It was limited edition, but they need to bring this formula back. Oh hi, you can see me. These shades are not good. They're like, I don't know, they're just horrible, but these three are so good. They're like cream glitters. It's amazing. So I wish they would bring this back to not be limited edition, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so we're gonna do Too Faced next. I have the Too Faced Everything Nice palette, which is such an old holiday release, but it's really gorgeous. I keep it because it's nostalgic to me. These cheek shades are not that good. The eyeshadows were actually not bad at all for a holiday release, and I don't know, does anyone even remember this palette? But the packaging is just gorgeous. So that's the first Too Faced palette I ever owned. And then I also have this holiday release, which is best year ever. I actually do think 2018 was the best year out of like the past 5 years, because 2019 2020 have been pretty horrible, but I thought it was a really pretty selection of shades. I think the formula in this is actually pretty good, because we all know Too Faced is super inconsistent on their formulas. I completely destroyed the pink shade, but I actually really do enjoy the color story and the look that I've created with this one. Next up, I have the Too Faced Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. This palette is so gorgeous and so cute, and it smells a little weird, but I like it. I don't use this really at all anymore, but I need to because it's really gorgeous. I just think now with my Tart Toasted palette, is so much better. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of sitting there getting dusty. And I was also kind of mad that it's just not really, like the purples in here are not that good. But it's a cute palette and I need to use this more. And then my last Too Faced palette, I actually get so much use out of it, it's like broken. It's the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. If I was still supporting Too Faced, I would go ahead and buy another one of these, but I'm not. So yeah, it's a gorgeous palette. So gorgeous. As you can tell, I've like murdered that shade. Yeah, it's so good. So this is the best formula that I've tried from Too Faced. It's a gorgeous palette. The next palette I have is the Tati Beauty Volume 1 Textured Neutrals palette. It's also very dirty. This palette is gorgeous. I really love the layout of it. It's super unique, especially for a palette that's not very unique because it's neutrals, but I really like it. I don't like how the glitter gets literally everywhere. You cannot apply these glitters without glitter being all over your face, and also if you get it where it's not all over your face, congratulations, but it's going to be impossible to take off. But I've gotten quite a bit of use out of it. It's a really pretty palette. I think people hype it up too much, but I'm excited to see what else she comes out with, and it's pretty good. This glitter just kind of pisses me off sometimes. And then last but not least, I have 5 palettes from Jeffree. So I have the Blood Sugar palette, which was actually hard for me to get my hands on because it kept on being sold out. But here is what it looks like. I'm sure you've seen it a million times. I don't use this one nearly enough because it's a little bit too monochromatic for me. It's definitely not my favorite palette he's ever come up with. Some of the shades in here are iffy. Like, they're not the best quality, but they've definitely gotten better with each launch. But this white shade is so pigmented, and that bronze shade, whoo, so good. I need to use this more. Next, I have my Jeffree Star Thirsty palette, which I actually got in the holiday mystery box. I did an unboxing video of it. I'm so glad I got this because it's discontinued, and it's one of my favorite palettes. Not for the middle row, though, because the middle row sucked and should have never been made in the first place. But the matte shades are literally stunning. Like, he did such a good job. The yellow isn't that good, or is it? I don't really remember, so don't quote me on that, but I don't think it's that good. So I can definitely see why he discontinued this palette, because there are a lot of inconsistencies, but I still really enjoy this palette, especially for summer. I have Alien, which is actually the first palette I ever got from him. I remember I got this on launch day, super excited for it. It's super big and it's annoying to store, but my favorite palette he has ever made. It's literally so good. Oh my god, it's so good. This palette is the reason why I haven't purchased the Gemini palette from Melt. I still might go ahead and purchase that one, but I just love the grungy, like, weird shades in here. It's so good. I love it. Then I have my mini controversy palette. The packaging is so good on this. Unfortunately, the actual palette itself is not very good. It's just really not cohesive at all, and I just look at this and I don't know what to do. So maybe that's a user error, but it's not my favorite. But I love the series, and I waited in line for like 6 hours on the website, and it was just a crazy experience. So of course I'm gonna have this with me forever. And then last but certainly not least, I have the Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson Conspiracy palette. Oh my gosh, stunning. The shades in here are literally everything. It's kind of not that cohesive like the mini palette was, but because there are so many shades, it works. I love it. I've been loving every single thing I've created with this palette. It's just really that good, and I will keep this one with me forever. I think I like the Alien palette better just because it's more cohesive, but the looks I've created with this are stunning, and I think they did an amazing job. Okay guys, that was my eyeshadow palette collection video. Not as crazy as other people's, but still enough to be overwhelming to me. I'm literally sweating right now. And I think I broke my tripod, so I'm gonna go ahead and go, but I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.